Testing, testing. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello and a very good evening. Thank you all for joining us right here on A10varsity.com. My name is Austin Eckert, and it's my pleasure to have tonight's call here between the Raymore-Peculiar Panthers and the Rockhurst Hawklets. It's the home opener for the Hawklets after coming off of a huge 49-19 win on the road versus St. Pius, while Ray Peck, on the other hand, coming into tonight's game as the away team, coming off of a 24-13 loss on the road against Lee Summit North. And while they struggled on the road against the Broncos, they did take care of business a little bit in the second half and had a stronger showing. But Rockhurst, on the other hand, starting off the season strong on the road and looking to make it 2-0 after tonight. But we got both teams at midfield, getting ready for the coin toss as we await to hear how this game will start out. So we'll get word in a moment on who wins the coin toss and what the winner of the coin toss will decide to do. But just taking a look at both of these teams, Raymore-Peculiar just looking to have a better season after what happened last year. However, they did manage to come away with a playoff win last year at home against Lee Summit West. And then Rockhurst, on the other hand, a lot of returning pieces, lots of young talent that have now grown up and are now seniors. And again, lost some talent last year, but this team definitely reloaded and ready to go, and they started off the season strong with that 49-19 win. So we're going to get ready for kickoff here in just a moment, but we'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. But when we come back, we'll get ready for kickoff here between Raymore-Peculiar and Rockhurst High. You are watching high school football right here on A10varsity.com. We'll be right back.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
So Raymore-Peculiar will kick it off first, which means they'll get the ball to start the second half. Rockhurst will be working from right to left. Raymore-Peculiar working from left to right. And we're underway at Rockhurst High, and the kickoff is going to go out of bounds at around the 10-yard line, and it will be a kickoff out of bounds for the Panthers. And Rockhurst is going to have excellent field position to start this game off. So with the kickoff going out of bounds, Rockhurst is going to start at their own 35, led by junior quarterback Garrett Miller with a pretty impressive outing in his first game, going 13 of 15 with 2 touchdowns. And again, just a dominating 49-19 win. And just looking at the tape from last week, they didn't get off to a fast start. However, once they got it going, they were able to generate some points on the board. And here's a handoff play up the middle to Lewandowski. Cash Lewandowski runs up the middle all the way to the 44-yard line for a gain of 8. That'll bring up 2nd and 2. And Cash Lewandowski with 16 carries, 146 yards, and 3 touchdowns last week. And expect Lewandowski to get the call quite a bit here offensively for Rockhurst tonight. Miller in the shotgun formation, 3 receivers out to the right, and early whistle. Looks like we're going to have a false start penalty on Rockhurst. So it'll push them back 5 yards. It'll make it 2nd and even longer after the 8-yard carry by Cash Lewandowski. So it'll be 2nd down and 7 after the false start penalty. Miller is going to line up under center. One receiver split out on both sides. And another flag will be thrown right before the snap. And this could be on Raymore-Peculiar. And I believe it'll be an encroachment penalty. So take away the false start penalty and replace it with the encroachment penalty. That gives them the 5 yards that they lost right back. So Rockhurst pretty much gets away with the false start penalty, and they'll go back right to where they left off after the opening 8-yard carry by Cash Lewandowski. 2nd and 2 at their own 43. Play action. He lobs one down the far sideline, and there's a late flag, but I don't think he came down with the catch. I think they're going to rule it incomplete. But there was some contact on the far side, and it'll be pass interference on the Panthers. So just penalties left and right by both teams to start it off, but Raymore-Peculiar are just on the bad end of it so far to start. So it is going to be pass interference. And now Rockhurst, it'll move them up 15 yards all the way to the Raymore-Peculiar 42. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 42. There have been 3 penalties since the first play, in which that was an 8-yard carry for Cash Lewandowski. Raymore-Peculiar kicked the kickoff out of bounds, and Rockhurst started at their own 35. Excellent field position. And now 1st and 10 at the Ray-Pac 42. Pitch play over to the left side, and he's going to get nowhere. Tackled in the backfield, might have lost a yard. Cash Lewandowski just couldn't find an opening and is swarmed by a sea of Panthers. It'll make it 2nd and 10. But this is a very fast offense, and obviously there are a lot of question marks about their offense, losing some guys. But again, as I mentioned to open up the broadcast, a lot of the guys that were juniors last year are now seniors, and this team basically reloaded. Quick pass play from Miller, caught at the 35, past the 30, and pushed out of bounds near the 20. And there's the first pass play for the junior quarterback, Garrett Miller, as he connects with Blake Thomas on the far sideline. It'll push the Hawklets all the way up to the 22. They're 2 yards just outside the red zone. First and 10 for Rockhurst at the Ray-Pac 22. Miller hands it off up the middle to Lewandowski. Past the 10-yard line. Spins around a defender. Past the 5 and is going to get tripped up inside the 5-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Rockhurst at the Ray-Pac 5. So Cash Lewandowski, another run up the middle. Puts the Hawklets inside the 10-yard line. Make it 1st and goal. Under 10 minutes to go here in the first. Can the Hawklets capitalize on the amount of penalties Raymore-Peculiar has picked up defensively here to start this ball game off and punch it in for 6? 1st and goal at the 5. Miller lobs one up. Incomplete. And there's some whistles after the play, but I don't think there will be a flag thrown for pass interference again. But it'll be 2nd and goal at the 5 here for Rockhurst. Trying to get into the end zone first. Again, coming off of a strong 49-19, a 30-point win on the road over St. Pius. Looking to get off to a good start here in their home opener. Miller handing it off to Lewandowski. Up the middle, fighting his way to the goal line. Extra pushes, and they're going to call it dead. I think he's going to be just short of the goal line. They'll put him right outside the goal line at the 2, so it'll be 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. Only 2 more yards for the Hawklets to make it 6-0. Well, We'll see if they go right back to Lewandowski. Again, had an impressive day at St. Pius, rushing for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns. Can he get his 4th touchdown of the season here? 3rd and goal at the 2. Miller, pitch play to Lewandowski to the left side. Trying to find his way to the goal line, and he's going to be just short. Tackled behind the line of scrimmage at the 4. He's going to lose 2 yards. And now 4th and goal coming up for Rockhurst. It'll be interesting to see what they do here. Of course, they've had some special teams woes in the past. If you go back to last season, there have been some special teams woes in the kicking game. And even in the extra points, too. They missed their first extra point in their game last year. So they're going to go for it here on 4th and goal at the 3. Miller in shotgun with 3 receivers out to the right. Miller's going to roll out to his right. And the pass is intercepted, I think, or it might be incomplete. They're going to rule it incomplete. But nevertheless, it's a turnover on downs for the Panthers defense. So the Ray-Peck defense, after dealing with a few penalties on Rockhurst's first drive, they hold the Hawklets out of the end zone, and they keep it scoreless here on the road, and they'll have a chance to make something happen here offensively with just under 9 minutes to go. Not the start that Rockhurst wanted offensively, but Raymore-Peculiar gets a big stop on a 4th and goal at the 3. But now they'll have to drive down the field 97 yards to take the lead. And we'll see what the Panthers offense can do. Here's a handoff play up the middle. Past the 10. Might have gotten all the way up to the 10. Gets a good carry there. Zephyr Walker gets the call. Gets all the way up to the 9-yard line for a gain of 6. Make it 2nd and 4 for the Ray-Peck offense. And play action. And a one-handed catch. He's down the near sideline, pushed out of bounds at around the 30. Oh, man. What a play by Evan Skirtle. The one-handed catch and found an opening and got all the way down to the 33. So they get out of their own end zone, and they have pretty good field position now after that insane play. And what a catch by Evan Skirtle. Another handoff play as he gets nowhere. Might have gotten a yard, but it'll be 2nd and 10 at their own 35. And to Zephyr Walker, just going back to their game last week on the road against Lee Summit North, Walker has proven that he's a very physical runner, can get through the holes if, the front line can find some openings, and it's been impressive to start. 3 receivers split out wide to the left. They're going to go back to Walker again. And it gets past the 35 and down to the 36, so only a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd and 9. Even though Raymore-Peculiar lost their game on the road against Lee Summit North, they did end up playing pretty well in the second half, especially defensively. And they won the second half 7-3 despite that 24-13 loss. But here in week 2 on the road, they get a stop on 4th and goal, and now they have a chance to flip the script and try to take the lead. Play action, and he's going to go down in the backfield. And he is met by a swarm of Hawklets all the way back at the 30-yard line. And it'll be 3 and out for Raymore-Peculiar. So it'll be 4th and long. And Rockhurst will get the ball back after failing to punch it into the end zone on a 4th and goal, but they get the stop on defense, force the first 3 and out of the ball game for either side. And we're going to have a timeout, it looks like, on the field here with 6:15 to go here in the first quarter. We're scoreless here between the Panthers and the Hawklets. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. You're watching Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. We'll be right back. And we're back live on A10varsity.com as Raymore-Peculiar punts this one away as it gets past midfield, and it'll take a Rockhurst bounce near midfield, and it'll go out of bounds at the Rockhurst 49. So not a far punt for Raymore-Peculiar, as Rockhurst will get excellent field position once again for their second drive of the game as they look to respond after getting the stop defensively, and they, of course, got held out of the end zone on a 4th down and goal at the 3. So now this high-powered Rockhurst offense will go back to work at their own 49. And so far, they've given it to Cash Lewandowski a few times, and you've seen Garrett Miller with some nice throws already. Again, Miller with only 2 incompletions last week. He's going to line up in the shotgun formation. Wide receiver screen play out to the left, and it's incomplete. Raymore-Peculiar ready for that one, and really good coverage as the pass was intended for Blake Thomas. It'll bring up 2nd and 10. I was just talking about incompletions for Garrett Miller, and he throws his first one right there. But just really good coverage right there by the Raymore-Peculiar secondary, as you saw there down on the near side. Just really good effort by C.J. Mitchell on the outside. Miller's going to line up in the shotgun formation again. The snap's going to go over his head, and Lewandowski's going to have to fall on top of it. Just another mistake by this Hawklet offense. And it's going to be 3rd and long. They're going to have to make up for that snap that went right over Miller's head. And they lose. They have to go all the way back to the 29, so they're going to have to get all the way up to the Raymore-Peculiar 41 for the first down. So 3rd and extremely long here for Rockhurst. +25 yards to go here for the Hawklet offense on 3rd and long. 2 receivers out on both sides. And some whistles thrown before the snap, and it's going to be false start on Rockhurst. It's just been a mess for this Rockhurst offense here on their second drive of the game, and not only do they have the snap that goes over Miller's head, but they also have the false start penalty, so moving back 5 more yards. Now they're all the way back at their own 24, and they're going to have to get all the way up to the Raymore-Peculiar 41 for the first down. 3rd and 35. 3 receivers out to the right, 1 out to the near side. Miller in shotgun. Little pitch play up the middle to Lewandowski. Gets past the 30-yard line, all the way up to the 35, and he'll go down at the 36. Just a mess for the Rockhurst offense, and they're going to have to go 3 and out. And Raymore-Peculiar will get the ball right back. And it didn't take long for the Panthers to get a stop defensively. Again, you saw that snap go over the head of Miller a moment ago that made it 3rd and long, and then they had the false start penalty that moved them back 5 more yards. So now the Hawklets will have to punt it back. And a line drive punt takes a bounce at the 37, all the way up to the 30, and it'll be fielded just inside the 30-yard line. And they're going to mark it down at the Raymore-Peculiar 29. So 71 yards to the end zone for Raymore-Peculiar on their next drive. And as you saw in that previous drive for Raymore-Peculiar, some really good runs from DeZephon Walker, but other than that, we haven't really seen much. But you saw that really big play, though, by Evan Skirtle, that one-handed catch right around the 30-yard line on that last drive. Still scoreless here, midway here through the first. And another handoff play to the left side, nowhere to go. Might have lost a yard. Merrick Dombrowski this time gets the call. You'll see Dombrowski also in the mix with Walker. Both very physical running backs. Walker standing tall at 6 foot 205, and Dombrowski standing tall at 6'0" and 185. But really good length here from their offense for sure. And tackled in the backfield, nowhere to go again. And Cash Lewandowski coming up with the tackle for a loss of 2. Or he might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. It was awfully close, but it'll be 3rd and 14, all the way back at their own 25 for Raymore-Peculiar. It's been a defensive start once again for both of these teams. Really, if you look back at both games for both of these teams, they didn't get off to the fastest start, so another defensive start here for both of these teams. Rolling out to the right and keeping it himself past the 25, and he'll get pushed out of bounds before the 30-yard line out at the 29. So another 3 and out for the Panthers offense. Blake Thomas back deep to receive for Rockhurst. This will be the second punt of the day for Raymore-Peculiar. Here with 2:43 to go in the first. And another line drive punt, and it'll go out of bounds past the 40. And they'll probably mark it out at the Rockhurst 36. Make it the 35-yard line of Rockhurst. So Rockhurst will start their third drive of the game at their own 35. And just to quickly recap what's gone on here in these first 2 drives for the Hawklets. A good start in their first drive, but they got held out of the end zone on a 4th and goal at the Raymore-Peculiar 3. And then on their last drive, just mistakes on top of mistakes. You have the snap that goes over the head of Miller for a loss of maybe 20, 25 yards, and then a false start penalty right after that. And then they just couldn't get the first down after that. So they'll look to drive down the field here more efficiently on their third drive. Here's Miller rolling out to his right, and it's incomplete, in and out of the hands. Intended for Kevin Sullivan, the KU commit. And that ball was thrown into double coverage into the direction of Sullivan. It'll be 2nd and 10. .231 to go here in the first quarter. Still scoreless here between the Panthers and the Hawklets. Miller trying to send Elijah Curtis in motion. And Miller's going to hand it off to Lewandowski again. And gets all the way up to the 39 for only a gain of 4 yards. So it'll be 3rd and 6. They'll have to get all the way up to the 45 for the first. I'll see if they go back to Lewandowski once again. He's gotten some pretty good yardage already here for Rockhurst in the ground game. But passing game-wise, it seems that Raymore-Peculiar, just defensively, they've had some really good coverage. Third and 6. At their own 39 for Rockhurst. Miller lines up under center. And he's going to pitch it to the right side to Lewandowski. And he's going to be close to the first down marker, but he's going to be just short. Going to be a yard short as he's down at the 44. It'll be 4th and 1 here with 1:30 left to go in the first quarter. It looks like Rockhurst is going to go for it. And why not? If you're only 1 yard away, you might as well try to push the ball up the field and keep the drive going. So Rockhurst will go for it here on 4th and 1. 0 for 1 today on 4th downs. They failed to get the 4th and goal at the 3-yard line. Let's see if they can do it here. Back to Lewandowski. First down, past midfield, and he'll get tripped up, and he'll be called down at midfield. So it'll be a Rockhurst first down. They go back to Lewandowski, and they get the conversion on 4th and 1. Gain of 7 yards from Lewandowski. And we're under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Miller in shotgun with Lewandowski lining up to his left. 2 receivers split out wide on the far side. Miller's going to lob one up down the far sideline, and incomplete, but another pass interference penalty. This is the 3rd pass interference penalty we've seen tonight from this Raymore-Peculiar defense. And that's how Rockhurst has been able to move up the field with all these penalties just going their way. So they draw up another pass interference penalty, and it'll move them up 15 yards. And more likely than not, they'll be able to move all the way up to the Raymore-Peculiar 35. After that pass interference penalty, they'll actually mark it down at the 34.5-yard line, down the middle of the field. So pass interference penalty on Ray Peck for the 3rd time tonight. And the penalties just continue to add on for the Ray Peck defense. 34 seconds to go in the first. Miller under center. And a handoff play up the middle, all the way up to the 31. And Quinn Walsh this time gets the call instead of Lewandowski. You won't see Walsh run the whole lot, but if they do go to the fullback, watch out, because Walsh is also another physical runner. Just going back and looking at the tape, both Walsh and Lewandowski had some impressive showings in that 49-19 win over St. Pius on the road. And Quinn Walsh actually got a receiving touchdown. It was a 9-yard touchdown that he caught in last week's win. And the clock all the way goes down to 0 here in the first quarter as we are still scoreless here between Ray Peck and Rockhurst. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. We'll be back on the air momentarily. You're watching Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. We'll be right back.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com as we open up the second quarter here at Rockhurst High. And Miller will hand the ball off again to Lewandowski as he tries to fight his way up to the 25. Will get tackled at the 26 for a good gain there. Only a gain of 5 on the carry for Lewandowski. It'll bring up 3rd and short here to open up the second quarter. Rockhurst looking to punch it in after failing to get into the end zone on a 4th and goal at the 3 on their first drive, and then the ensuing drive was just mistakes on top of mistakes. You have the snap going over Miller's head and false start penalties and such. Going back to Walsh again up the middle. Is he going to get to the first down marker. I think he's going to be just short. I think they're only going to give Walsh a gain of 1, so 4th and 1 coming up here for Rockhurst. Do they decide to go for it for the 3rd time tonight? And it looks like they're going to keep the offense out there once again. So another 4th and 1 opportunity here for Rockhurst. We're still scoreless here, looking to convert their second 4th down conversion tonight. 4th and 1. Miller lining up under center. He's going to sneak it, and I think he's going to get just enough as he gets all the way up to the 23 of Ray Peck, and it's going to be enough for a Hawklet first down. So 2 for 3 tonight on 4th down conversions for the Hawklets. And now it's 1st and 10, 3 yards outside the red zone here for the Hawklets. Miller lining up under center, 2 receivers out on the near side of your screen. Play action from Miller, rolling out to his right. He's going to keep it himself all the way up near the 20. He's going to get pushed out of bounds at the 21, but there is a flag. And it might be coming back here on Rockhurst. And it's going to be holding on Ray Peck. So, in fact, it's another Ray Peck penalty defensively, and it's the 6th penalty we've seen from this Ray Peck defense tonight. So curious to see where they put Rockhurst now after the penalty. We'll put them in a pretty good spot. Up to the 11-yard line. So 11 yards to go for the Hawklets as they try to punch it into the end zone first. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the Ray Peck 11-yard line. And they'll just have to get all the way up to the 1-yard line to make it 1st and goal. But after what happened on that first drive, I bet Rockhurst will want to punch it in right away. 3 receivers out on the far side, 1 out to the near side. Miller's going to pitch it out to Lewandowski, past the 10. And that's where he's going to go down as he gets a gain of 1. So it'll be 2nd and 9. And it's been a defensive start here for Ray Peck and Rockhurst. As I mentioned, that missed opportunity on 4th and goal at the 3 for Rockhurst on their first drive. Ray Peck getting a big stop defensively. And it's just been back and forth with the penalties. Just things that have happened in week 1 kind of carrying on over here into week 2. So we're still trying to settle into the season. Here's Lewandowski again. And probably gets a gain of 1, maybe 2 yards on that. That'll bring up 3rd and 8, maybe 3rd and 7. They'll mark him down at the 9. So it'll be 3rd and 8 here for Rockhurst. Trying to put up the first points of the game here for either team. And as we've seen from Garrett Miller here through almost a game and a half, he's been pretty good in the play action game. We'll be curious to see if they'll trust Miller to get the ball into the end zone here. And we're going to have a whistle right before the snap, and I think Rockhurst is going to call another timeout. Or make it their first timeout of the game. Raymore-Peculiar called that first timeout earlier. So Rockhurst is going to use their first timeout here with 8:16 remaining here in the second quarter. We're still scoreless here between the Panthers and the Hawklets. I'm Austin Eckert. Thank you all so much for tuning in on this beautiful Friday night. We're here live in Kansas City, Missouri, here at Rockhurst High. Beautiful temperatures, obviously temperatures in the lower 60s, upper 60s. Throughout most of the day today. And I'll tell you what, it feels like football weather for sure. And, you know, as we enter the month of September, we all know that the weather is starting to cool down a little bit. You know, it's been very hot the last few weeks. And I know the folks around here are very relieved that the cooler weather is finally here, and it'll be around for a while after this month kind of passes. But usually the cold weather sticks around once it hits the month of October. But it'll be 3rd and 6 for Rockhurst at the Ray-Peck 8. 3 receivers out to the far side, 1 out to the near side. Miller's going to keep it himself. He's going to fight his way to the 5-yard line. He's going to go down. And I don't know how much they're going to give Miller on that carry, but they're going to mark him down at the 7, so a gain of 2, maybe 1 yard. Not much there. So another 4th down, and I think Rockhurst is going to go ahead and kick the field goal. So Connor Devereaux on to attempt the short field goal attempt out of the hold of Joe Pitzel. Here's the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is good. And Connor Devereaux makes it 3-0 Rockhurst with 7:35 to go here in the second quarter. So we'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. We'll be back for kickoff here in just a moment. And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. My name's Austin Eckert, and we're sitting here at a 3-0 score. Rockhurst takes the lead here with 7:35 remaining here in the second quarter as Connor Devereaux knocks in the short field goal attempt. And they're going to kick it away here. It's a short kick, and it'll be fielded inside the 40-yard line at the 36. So a little pooch kick from Rockhurst, and Raymore-Peculiar, the upman for the Panthers, just fields it inside the 40, and Ray-Peck will go to work at their own 36. So nothing going for this Ray-Peck offense so far, but they'll look to respond after giving up 3. But the defense was able to hold the Hawklets out of the end zone at least. So it's a small victory for that Ray-Peck defense, but if Ray-Peck can find a way to get into the end zone first and go into halftime with the lead, it'd be a big momentum shifter in this game. 1st and 10 at their own 36. And play action. He's going to roll out to his right, and he's going to keep it up the middle past the 40, and I don't think he's going to get much further than the 40-yard line. That's where he's going to go down, as Warren Robertson there on the carry gets all the way up to the 40. So now 2nd and 6. One receiver out wide to the near side, one out to the far side. Stanback's going to hand it off up the middle, past midfield, at the 40-yard line, at the 35-30. There's a flag thrown back at the 35-yard line, but Walker's going to get all the way past the 25 and down to the 22, but I think this is going to come back for Ray-Peck. And I think it's going to be holding on Ray-Peck, and it sure is going to be holding. So another penalty for this Ray-Peck offense, pushing them back after that big play. Just mistakes like those you just simply can't have on the road, and a long run play just, they do get a few yards out of it. However, they lose a few after the penalty, so Ray-Peck will have the ball at the Rockhurst 42-yard line on the left hash. But it looks like the officials are going to reset here for a moment, and we will resume play. 1st and 10 here for the Panthers at the Rockhurst 42. Stand back, lining up in the shotgun formation with Walker to his right. 2 receivers out to the far side. Stand back, hands it off to Walker, bouncing outside to the left, and gets pushed out of bounds near the 35. A physical run. Only gets him a gain of maybe 3 or 4. And as I mentioned before, just Evan Walker showing that he's a very physical runner, and you don't want to, if you're trying to tackle him on the first attempt, I mean, good luck, because what he does pretty well so far. I mean, running through tacklers and not going down on the first tackle, that's been his biggest strength so far that he's shown. And Stanback's going to roll out to his right. Pass is complete. And pushed out of bounds near the 25. And a Rockhurst player slow to get up after the play. And looks like Carter Mullen will have to check in. As you saw on the end of the play, it looked like Sheldon Knight just got banged up there on the far sideline. He'll have to come out for just a moment. But now Ray Peck has the ball at the Rockhurst 26, 1st and 10, with 6:10 left to go here in the second quarter. 3-0, Rockhurst leads it. Stand back. It's complete at the 30, and gets all the way up to the 25. Right back to the line of scrimmage, so a gain of nothing. As he tried to connect with Donovan Gudo right there on the running back screen play. So it'll be 2nd and 9. They're actually going to give him a gain of 1 on that pass play, so 2nd and 9 at the 25 of the Hawklets here for Ray Peck. 1 receiver split out on both sides here for Ray Peck. Standbacks sending his receiver in motion. Another handoff play. Standback's going to keep it himself. Gets up to the 21, so a gain of 4. It'll be 3rd and 5. But this is a big play coming up here for Ray Peck, arguably their biggest play here in the first half. As once again, they're trying to punch it into the end zone first, and it looks like Ray Peck's going to use one of their timeouts here in the first half, and they're going to use their second timeout here with exactly 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, as Rockhurst holds their 3-0 lead here at home over Ray Peck. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break, but when we come back, it'll be 3rd and 5 for the Ray Peck offense at the Rockhurst 21-yard line. You're watching Missouri High School football on 810varsity.com. We'll be right back.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident, and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
3rd and 5 at the Rockhurst 21. Stand back, rolling out to his right. And complete near the first down marker. Will it be enough? I think he's going to be just short of the first down marker. And I think Ray Peck's going to stay out here on 4th and 2. They're going to give him a gain of only 3 yards. So it'll be 4th and 2 at the Rockhurst 18. Ray Peck's inside the red zone. And obviously they want to try to go into the half with a touchdown to feel good about going into the second half. 4:19 left to go in the first half. Stand back lining up in the shotgun, and we're going to have a whistle before the snap. And Ray Peck is going to call their 3rd and final timeout here in the first half with 4 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the second quarter. Rockhurst leads it 3-0. We'll go ahead and step aside for another commercial break. When we come back, it'll be 4th and 2 at the Rockhurst 18.
taco, tiki taco. Tacos, burritos, nachos and bowls, fresh frozen drinks, ice cold beer and desserts. Tiki taco, tiki taco.
So 4th and 2 for Ray-Pec, and they're going to turn to their kicking game. Here's the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is good. So we are tied up at 3 apiece here with 4:09 left to go in the first half. And so on 4th and 2, they turned to their kicking game. We originally thought they were going to go for it, but I don't think Ray-Pec liked what they saw right before they called their third and final timeout. So they went to the kicking game. They got the field goal up and through, and we are squared away at 3 apiece. A defensive first half here from the Panthers and the Hawklets. But we've seen some good things offensively from both teams. We've seen DeStephen Walker for Ray-Pec, the running back, with some physical runs, and Dakota Stanback with some nice throws. And then earlier, you saw that SportsCenter top 10 play earlier by Evan Skirtle, the tight end, making that one-handed catch at around the 25 in the first quarter. We're tied up at 3 apiece here with 4:09 to go in the second quarter, and Rockhurst will try to make something happen on their fifth drive of the ball game. But a defensive showing here from the Panthers and the Hawklets so far. And a line drive kickoff. It'll be fielded inside the 5-yard line. Out to the 15, out to the 20. Fights his way to the 25, and he'll go down at the 26. And Cash Lewandowski on the return for the Hawklets. Gets them all the way up to the 26, so 74 yards of turf to work with now for Rockhurst as they get ready to start their 5th drive of the ball game here with 4 minutes exactly to go as we're tied up at 3 apiece. And again, like I said about Rockhurst's first game, they didn't get off to the fastest start offensively. However, once they got things going in the second half, they were able to click and fire on all cylinders and put up 49 points at the end of the day. They led 20-7 at the half over St. Pius. As Miller's going to roll out to his left, he's going to get past the line of scrimmage, and he'll get pushed out of bounds near the 30. Might have gotten a gain of 2, but just couldn't find an open receiver downfield. We've seen some really good coverage from this Ray-Pec secondary. It'll be a gain of 2 for Miller. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the Rockhurst 28-yard line. Three receivers out to the near side, one out to the far side. Miller in shotgun with a back line up to his right. And we have a whistle before the snap. And another pre-snap penalty called on Rockhurst, and that's the 3rd one we've seen tonight. I talked about week 1 miscues kind of carrying over into week 2 with us kind of breaking into the season. You know, that could be a thing, for, week 1 mishaps to kind of carry over into week 2. Those are things that every team, is working on. But the penalties have just been adding up here for Rockhurst and Ray-Pec. On top of a defensive effort, that's why the score has been so low so far to start. 2 receivers out on both sides as Miller takes the snap in the shotgun. He's going to fire to the near side and over the head of Blake Thomas, but incomplete. And good coverage right there by Dale Clark III on the outside. It'll be 3rd and long, 3rd and 13 with 2:49 to go here in the first half. And Rockhurst is going to have to get all the way up to the 41 for the first. Can Ray-Pac come up with another stop here on third down and force another 3 and out? 3 receivers out to the near side, 1 out to the far side. Lewandowski lines up to Miller's left. Miller takes the snap, fires over the middle, caught, past midfield, at the 30, at the 20, at the 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Rockhurst! Blake Thomas puts the Hawklets back on top. Here with 2:39 to go in the second quarter. Perfectly drawn up by the Rockhurst offense as Miller connects with Thomas for a 60-plus yard touchdown to make it 9-3. Here's the extra point here for Rockhurst as Connor Devereaux tries to make it a 7-point game. Snap, hold, kick is up and through the uprights. So Rockhurst, they retake the lead here in the second quarter with 2:39 to go in the first half. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break, but you're watching Missouri High School football right here on 810varsity.com. We'll be right back. And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on 810 Varsity, as the punt will be a line drive punt. It goes past the hands of Lewandowski. He picks it back up past the 30, and he's going to go down at the 22. A negative return for Lewandowski as the ball bounced through his hands, and it could have been costly there for Rockhurst, but he falls on top of it and gets taken down at the 22, but I think they're going to mark him down at the 25. So 75 yards of turf to work with here for Rockhurst with 1:46 to go. And they only have one timeout. So they're going to have to use that one timeout, though, wisely. But they were able to get into the end zone on their previous drive thanks to a long touchdown pass from Garrett Miller to Blake Thomas. And we'll see if Thomas can get the ball here again and make something happen here for the Hawklets. 3 receivers out to the left, 1 out to the near side. Lewandowski lining up to Miller's left. As Lewandowski gets the call, past the line of scrimmage and gets all the way up to the 29. Only a gain of 4 for Lewandowski. The clock continuing to tick with 1:35 to go in the first half. I see some tempo here from this Rockhurst offense. Same formation as the previous play. Back to Lewandowski again, hurdling over the line. It gets past the 30-yard line and tripped up at the 33. So not much there for Lewandowski again. They're getting closer to that first down marker, but they're going to have to get all the way up to the 36. 3rd and 4. And back to Lewandowski again. And he's going to go back in the backfield for maybe a gain of 1. He might have gotten past the line of scrimmage before being pushed back behind the line of scrimmage. But it'll be 4th down here for Rockhurst. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to go for it or maybe if they bring the punt team out and get a quick punt off. But it's 4th and 2. Again, Ray-Pec doesn't have any timeouts left here in the first half. So I think Rockhurst is just going to let the clock go all the way down as far as possible and maybe call their 3rd and final timeout here in the first half. But the clock continuing to tick, under 20 seconds. There's 2 left on the play clock, and I think Rockhurst is going to use their 3rd and final timeout with 16 seconds to go in the first half. So it'll be 4th and 2 with 16 seconds to go, as Rockhurst just let the clock kind of fall down as far as possible with no timeouts left here for Ray-Pec, really for either team now. So both teams have used all 3 of their timeouts here in the first half. So it'll be interesting to see what Rockhurst decides to do here on 4th and 2 with 16 seconds to go. Yeah, it's been a defensive showing here from both of these squads, and a really impressive defensive showing, I must say. And Ray-Pec, you know, after the season they had last year, they definitely want to flip the script and prove to everybody that they're not the football team that everybody saw last year, especially on paper. You know, sometimes the record doesn't always tell the full story. And, of course, they were able to get a playoff win last year despite how their regular season went. And Rockhurst, on the other hand, they had a really strong start to the season last year and faced some really tough opponents down the stretch and lost a couple of key home games last year. Line drive punt here as it'll take a Ray-Pec bounce at the 41. It'll try to bounce its way back to the 40, but they'll mark it down at the Ray-Pec 39 with 9 seconds to go. And I'm not sure if Ray-Pec is going to be aggressive. They might just kneel it down and go into the half down by a touchdown, but in this first half, it's been a defensive showing, but Rockhurst, they were able to get on the board with a touchdown a couple of minutes ago. It was a long pass play from Garrett Miller to Blake Thomas. And we'll see if Standback here will just take a knee here with 8 seconds to go, and he's going to take one at the 34, and that's how the first half will end. So Rockhurst leads Ray-Pec 10-3 as we enter halftime here at Vincent P. Dastas Memorial Stadium here in Kansas City, Missouri. 10-3, Rockhurst leads it. We'll go ahead and step aside for now as we enter halftime here in Kansas City, Missouri. We'll be back on the air here in about 20 minutes for the start of the second half. My name's Austin Eckert, and we certainly want to take this time to thank everybody for tuning in on a10varsity.com or on YouTube. We appreciate you all spending your Friday evening with us. And we have a pretty good ball game here on hand, but go ahead and step aside and do whatever you need to do, and join us here in about 20 minutes for the start of the second half. Rockhurst leads it 10-3. We are entering halftime, and we'll be back momentarily.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
Hello, and we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri high school football right here on 810varsity.com. My name's Austin Eckert, and it's my pleasure to be on the call for tonight's game for Rockhurst's home opener against the Ray-Peck Panthers, as Rockhurst is getting ready to kick it away to the Panthers as they'll be working from left to right. Rockhurst will be working from right to left. Here to start off the second half, Rockhurst leads at 10-3, up by a touchdown. Short pooch kick. It'll be fielded inside the 40, and it'll be fair caught at the 36, but there was some extra pushing at the end of that fair catch, and a late flag will be thrown. So I'm not sure if they're going to give Ray-Peck that penalty. That'll probably push them up a few more yards. The officials are currently talking about it. So it is going to be a fair catch interference on Rockhurst, and it'll be interesting to see where they put the Panthers here to start off this second half. Down by a touchdown, looking to tie it up here at 10 apiece. And Ray-Peck is going to have excellent field position to open up the second half, and they're going to get the ball at the Rockhurst 49-yard line on the left hash. So that's where Dakota Stanback and the Ray-Peck offense will go to work to start off the third quarter. DeSephon Walker lining up to Stanback's left as the officials reset. And we await the snap from the head official as they try to get things in order after that penalty, and we resume play here at Rockhurst High. 10-3, the Hawklets lead it. Stanback lining up in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap. Slant play, incomplete. And great coverage right there by Blake Thomas, the guy that you saw that caught that long touchdown pass before the end of the first half. Good coverage right there, and it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Second and 10 at the Rockhurst 49. One receiver split out wide on both sides. As Stanback's going to send his receiver in motion, he's going to hand it off to DeSephon Walker to the left side, and he's not going to get to the line of scrimmage. He's going to get pushed back at midfield for a loss of 1. So now 3rd and 11 at midfield here for Ray-Peck. Again, down by a touchdown, looking to tie it up at 10 apiece to open up the second half. And as you all saw in that first half, it was just defense all throughout that first half for both teams, and then Rockhurst just got that one big play that ended up in 6. 2 receivers out to the near side. Stanback takes the snap on 3rd down, and the pass is tipped up in the air and incomplete. And there's a flag thrown at the end of the play. And a late hit called on Rockhurst as Stanback got drilled after he fired that pass on 3rd down. So it'll be an automatic first down here for Ray-Peck. But you certainly don't want that if you're Rockhurst, trying to get a stop right away here in the second half to keep the momentum on your side. Certainly don't want those types of penalties on 3rd down, but it'll be 1st and 10 for Ray-Peck at the Rockhurst 35 after the late hit penalty. One receiver split out wide to the far side, one out to the near side. Play action. Scrambling, looking for an open receiver. He's still on his feet. The ball's taken away. He's at the 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5. Touchdown, Rockhurst. So the ball just came out of Stanback's arms, and Rockhurst runs it all the way into the end zone for the fumble recovery and to take the lead here by 2 possessions. Unbelievable play. That was crazy. I didn't see the ball come out initially, but it looked like Stanback just tried to get the ball off, and the ball just slipped out of his hands, and it results at 6 for the Rockhurst defense. With 11:01 to go in the third quarter, Rockhurst now leads at 16-3. Extra point on the way here from Connor Devereaux. Here's the snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it is through the uprights. 17-3, the Hawklets lead it here in the third quarter as they now lead it by 2 touchdowns with 11 minutes and 1 second to go in the third quarter. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. We'll be back just to recap what happened in the previous play momentarily. And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on 810varsity.com. A long fumble recovery makes it 17-3 Rockhurst as they knock in the extra point after the fumble recovery touchdown. And they lead it by 2 touchdowns here, 17-3 now our score. And as you saw in the first half, neither team really separated themselves from each other, but here to start off the second half, Rockhurst is trying to run away with the game and keep the momentum on their side here in tonight's home opener. Kickoff fielded right behind the 10-yard line. It'll be brought out to the 15, and he'll go down at the 16. Donovan Gudo on the return gets all the way up to the 16, and not much going there for Ray Peck on the return. So after that disaster of a fumble from Dakota Stanback, he'll have to shake that one off and produce something here for the Panthers. Now down by 2 touchdowns. This is a key critical drive in the game for Ray Peck if they want to stay in it. Otherwise, all the momentum is going to stay on Rockhurst's side. I mean, defensively, you've seen them making plays left and right. And that fumble recovery right there on that previous play that ended up in 6. Things have been working out pretty well for this Rockhurst defense. A handoff play to the right side, past the 20, and he'll get all the way up to the 23. Does Evan Walker again gets the call and picks up about 6 yards. It'll make it 2nd and 4 at the Ray Peck 23. Trips out wide to the far side. As Stanback will hand it off again to Walker. Gets past the 25. He'll get pushed out of bounds at the 26. And he might be just short of that first down marker. If he is short, it'll be 3rd and inches here for Ray Peck. And some whistles blown right before they try to get the snap off, as I think the officials are just going to reset for a moment. 3rd and short, it'll bring up 1st and 10, actually. I think they were just trying to fix that up. So it's actually 1st down here for Ray Peck. Thought it was 3rd and inches for a second, but it's now 1st and 10. At their own 27 for Ray Peck. And some whistles blown before the snap, and another false start penalty here for the Panthers offense. And the 4th false start penalty here for Ray Peck in this game. And they had 3 in the first half that really killed some of their drives in that first half. I mean, that's why this one's been a low-scoring game. Not only has it been defense for both sides, but the penalties have certainly been a factor here for both Ray Peck and Rockhurst. Two receivers split out wide to the far side for Ray-Pec on 1st and 15. At their own 22. Stanback trying to change up the play for the Panthers. Walker's going to line up to his right. As Stanback rolls out to his left. He's going to keep it himself past the 25 up to the 30. The ball comes out. Does Rockhurst recover it? Hang on for a moment. Hold your breath. And I might be Ray-Pec football, as Rockhurst for a moment thought they had recovered another fumble. And they got that fumble recovery touchdown on that previous drive. And Ray-Pec with a sigh of relief, almost giving up a second fumble in back-to-back drives. Trips out to the near side this time on 2nd and 6 with under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. And a quick wide receiver screen play out to the near side. It's going to be incomplete. Garrett Solomon on the intended end of that pass from Stanback, but I think we saw Solomon right there just taking a knee down to the turf, and I think they ruled him down. So now 3rd and 10 with 9:18 to go in the third quarter. And these third down conversions are critical here for Ray-Pec if they want to stay in this game. Down by 2 touchdowns, down by 14. 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Trips out to the far side, and another flag thrown before the snap. This could be another false start penalty here for Ray-Pec. This would be their 5th if so. And two of the officials will talk to each other for a moment to discuss the penalty. Hard to tell who this will be on. Well, the penalty is going to be on Ray-Pec, but I'm not sure if there was movement up front or if they had just waved the flag off, but nothing changes after that penalty. So they must have just waved the flag off, but it'll bring up 3rd and 10 at their own 27. So no penalty. Thought maybe there was another false start. But it remains 3rd and 10 at their own 27. One receiver out to the near side, trips out to the far side. Stanback takes the snap on 3rd down, rolls out to his left. He's going to keep it past the 30, and he's going to go out of bounds at the 31. So only a gain of 4 for Dakota Stanback on 3rd and 9. And it's going to bring up 4th down, and Ray-Pec's going to have to punt the football away. It's the 5th punt of the evening for Ray-Pec, and they haven't been able to find the end zone so far here on the road. The Rockhurst defense doing everything that they can to keep the Ray-Pec offense out of the end zone here. Here's a long line drive kick. It takes a Ray-Pec bounce at the 40, and it rolls all the way inside the 30, out at the Rockhurst 29 on the right hash. So a solid punt for Ray-Pec, and the Hawklets will go back to work at their own 29-yard line. They were able to get into the end zone with a fumble recovery touchdown, a defensive touchdown here to open up the second half. And before going into the end of that first half, you saw that beautiful pass from Garrett Miller to Blake Thomas on that 60-plus yard reception for a touchdown to make it 10-3 with about a minute to go in the second quarter. So we'll see what the Hawklet offense can do here, up by 2 touchdowns with 7:42 to go in the third quarter. And Garrett Miller so far, pretty impressive. He's had some really nice throws. And they've been giving the ball to Cash Lewandowski quite a bit. We'll see if they go to him more. Lewandowski again gets the call, gets past the 35, all the way up to the 38. And Lewandowski's going to pick up a gain of maybe 8 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and short. 2nd and 2 at their own 38 now for Rockhurst. Two receivers split out wide to the far side, one out to the near side. Miller's going to line up in the I formation. And handing it off again to Lewandowski as he fights off a defender, gets past the 40, all the way up to the 44 for a first down. So Lewandowski picks up 6 this time and gives the Hawklets a first down here on their second drive here in the second half. Under 7 minutes to go now here in the third quarter. And if really Rockhurst can punch it in for another touchdown, they'll have all the momentum on their side. And Ray-Pec, they have some momentum on their side. You've seen them make plays defensively and offensively. You know, when everything's clicking, I mean, they do get into some sort of a rhythm. But once Rockhurst makes that play defensively, they're out of sync. Here's Miller rolling out to his right, and it's caught. And out of bounds at the Ray-Pec 42. And Kevin Sullivan, the KU commit, comes up with the catch. 3-star tight end. Making some plays here for Rockhurst here in game number 2 of this season. He was all over the field in their win last week over St. Pius. Came up with some sacks and also made some big-time catches as well. Can really do it all on both ends, but makes another nice play here as Rockhurst will have the ball now 1st and 10 at the Ray-Pec 42. Another handoff play to the right side, and he's going to be met in the backfield for a loss of 1. Lewandowski again with the call. And Ray-Pec, they've done a good job of slowing down the run game here and there, but if Lewandowski can find the right opening, watch out. 6 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 2nd and 11 coming up after a 1-yard loss from Lewandowski. Miller lining up under center. Only one receiver split out wide to the near side. And this time it's Walsh with the carry. He's down the near sideline. Lewandowski, it's actually with the call. Gets past the 25, still on his feet, and fights his way all the way up to the 20-yard line of Ray-Pec. I originally thought Quinn Walsh got the call, but they go right back to Lewandowski, and he gets the Hawklets all the way up to the 20, right at the point where they're just entering the red zone, so it's 1st and 10 at the Ray-Pec 20. There's a gain of 23 by Lewandowski. Looking to have back-to-back strong performances here to open up the season. Lewandowski will be a force to be reckoned with for sure throughout this season. He's already established a solid ground game showing here for Rockhurst here in these first 2 games. Handoff play to the right side, past the 20, and he'll get all the way up to the 16. Only a gain of 4. It'll bring up 2nd and 6. So Rockhurst just taking their time here on this drive. They obviously don't want to hurry up. I mean, they're already up by 2 touchdowns. But like I said, if they can put another touchdown here on the board, it would certainly help them put the game away as they look to make it 2-0 here to start off the season. This is their home opener after getting a big-time win over at St. Pius. Here's Miller on the call, and he's going to keep it himself to the right side. Gets to the 15, and he's going to get nowhere after that. Only a gain of 1 for Miller. On that formation, you saw a receiver motion out from left to right with 2 receivers out on both sides. Maybe I thought they were going to go to the air, but Garrett Miller gets the call and only gets a gain of 1, so 3rd and 6. They're going to have to get all the way up to the Ray-Pec 10 for the 1st and goal. 17-3, Rockhurst leads it here with just under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. 1 receiver split out wide on both sides. Miller takes the snap on 3rd and 6. Fires towards the near sideline. Incomplete. As Miller tried to connect with, looks like Warren Robertson on that pass attempt. It'll bring up 4th down. Do they go once again to Connor Devereaux, or do they go for it here on 4th down? They're going to go ahead and kick another field goal here. Connor Devereaux so far 1 for 1 today in field goals. Knocked in the first points of the game in the early parts of the second quarter to make it 3-0. They look to make it 20-3. Here's the snap, the hold. The kick is up, and it is going to be well short. No good. And Rockhurst comes away with 0. Ray-Pec gets the stop defensively, and we're still squared away here at a 2-possession game as Rockhurst still leads it 17-3, but a missed field goal keeps our score at a 14-point ball game here with 3 minutes and 33 seconds. So Devereaux now 1 for 2 tonight. And Dakota Stanback and the Panther offense will go right back to work at their own 20. Let's see if the Panthers here can come up with a productive 80-yard drive to make it an interesting ball game as we enter the latter half of this game. Runs up the middle to the left side, gets past the 25 and up to the 26. Does Evan Walker again with the call? Up to the 26-yard line. So it's a gain of 6 for Walker. It'll bring up 2nd and 4. Second and 3 at the 27 for Ray-Pec. Stanback, play action, rolls out to his right, pass is tipped in the air, intercepted at the 35. It looked like Sheldon Knight got the end of that one and tipped the pass up in the air and came down with the interception. And a big turning point here in this ball game with 2:58 to go in the third quarter after Ray-Pec holding Rockhurst scoreless after the missed field goal. They now get an interception here with just under 3 minutes to go in the third. And I think Rockhurst just got called for maybe a sideline warning perhaps after the celebration on the interception from Sheldon Knight. But the Hawklets will get the ball at the Ray-Pec 35 after that interception from Sheldon Kite as he picks off Dakota Stanback with 2:58 to go in the third. And now Rockhurst will try to put this ball game away late as they take over at the Ray-Pec 35. 1st and 10 for the Hawklets. Trips out to the far side, one out to the near side. And a quick screen play out to the right side. Gets past the 30, and he'll go down at the 27. Tristan Johnson on the end of that catch for Rockhurst. It's his first catch of the evening. It'll be 2nd and 4 now after the 6-yard completion. 2.5 minutes to go here in the third. 17-3. Rockhurst leads it. They get the ball right back after that big-time interception from Sheldon Kite. Trips out to the near side this time. One out to the far side. Miller's going to keep it himself. He's going to pitch it out to Lewandowski. Gets past the 20 and pushed out of bounds at the 15. And Lewandowski picks up the first down as it'll make it 1st and 10 at the Ray-Pec 15. Rockhurst driving down the field efficiently after that interception. And when you come on the road, and especially games like this, you don't want to be on the negative side of that turnover margin, but it's just become increasingly harder for Ray-Pec to stay in this game. They stayed in it quite a bit in that first half, and the game's kind of carried away from them to start off the second half, and it's been that way since. Rockhurst has kept the momentum on their side. 1st and 10 now at the Ray-Pec 15 as Miller hands it off to Lewandowski to the left side and gets tackled at the 10. Gets a gain of 5. Now with 2 minutes to go in the third. 2nd and 5 coming up at the Ray-Pec 10. It would make it 1st and goal if they can get at least all the way up to the 5. They're going to go trips out to the far side again. One out to the near side. Miller lining up in the shotgun with the back line up to his right. Miller's going to roll out to his right. And he completes it, but he's going to be tackled behind the line of scrimmage for maybe a loss of 3, maybe 4. or they might have ruled that pass incomplete. I think that appears to be the case. It's going to be an incomplete pass. It'll just bring up 3rd and 5. It'll stop the clock at 1:20 here in the third. Both teams have all 3 timeouts to work with. I mean, both teams used all 3 of their timeouts early in that first half, and before the end of that first half, neither team had any timeouts to work with. So both teams were pretty aggressive with using of their timeouts, but here in the second half, they haven't used any of them. But as soon as I say it, Rockhurst used one of their timeouts here in the third quarter as they used their first one here in the second half with 1:20 to go. Here in the third quarter, they lead it by 14. 17-3 our score. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. When we come back, it'll be 3rd and 5 at the Ray-Peck 10-yard line. You are watching Missouri High School football on A10varsity.com.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. 3rd and 5 coming up for the Rockhurst offense at the Ray-Peck 10 with 1:20 to go here in the third. And an end-around play to Blake Thomas as he tries to find an edge and finds his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Rockhurst. Touchdown number 2 of the evening for Blake Thomas. And the 10-yard completion from Garrett Miller to Blake Thomas now makes it 23-3. Well, that'll for sure put the ball game away. However, Ray-Peck, they still have some time left, but they're going to have to drive down the field and at least get a touchdown if they want to have any chance of staying in this game, as the extra point is up and good. So Blake Thomas from 10 yards out makes it 24-3 as they lead here over Ray-Peck by 17. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. When we come back, Ray-Peck will have the ball right after the ensuing kickoff. You are watching Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. We'll be right back. A 1:14 left to go here in the third quarter as Blake Thomas from 10 yards out makes it 24-3 Rockhurst. And the Hawklets are now starting to put this game away from the Panthers. And, they started off the season well with that dominating 30-point road win over St. Pius. And they're looking to do the same here in tonight's home opener. 24-3 our score. And kickoff going to be fielded inside the 5-yard line. It'll be brought out past the 20. And he'll get all the way up to the 25. Not a bad return for Ray-Peck, but they'll have 75 yards of turf to work with here with 1 minute and 7 seconds to go in the third. Down by 17 points. And the work's definitely cut out for Ray-Peck. And they've had opportunities to punch it into the end zone. They just had a couple of turnovers here and there. And one of the turnovers ended up in 6 with that fumble recovery touchdown that you saw to open up the third quarter. And Rockhurst has scored 14 here in this quarter alone. And have really put it together on both ends of the ball. We'll see what Ray-Peck can do now here with a 1st and 10 at their own 25. And they're going to give it to Walker past the 30 and gets all the way up to the 34. A gain of 9. It'll bring up 2nd and short. And the KU commit Kevin Sullivan on that tackle for Rockhurst. As you can see, that man's playing both ends for Rockhurst, playing defensive end and also tight end. He's had a very strong showing here for the Hawklets to open up these first 2 games. One receiver split out wide on both sides. Stanback's going to hand it off on the end around to the left side. Gets past the 35 and up to the 36 for only a gain of 2. And Garen Solomon on that rushing attempt only gets a gain of 2. We're under 20 seconds to go in the third. We'll see if Ray Peck can get one more play before the end of the third quarter. 1st and 10 at their own 36 with 10 seconds to go. They're going to give it back to Walker past the 40 and fights his way all the way up to the 45. And that will end the third quarter as we head into the final quarter of action between Raymore-Peculiar and Rockhurst. The Hawklets lead it 24-3, a 17-point lead here for the Hawklets home opener. We'll step aside for a brief commercial break, but when we come back, it'll be the start of the fourth quarter with a 1st and 10. Make it 2nd and 1 at the Ray-Pac 45 for the Panthers.
Tiki taco, tiki taco. Tacos, burritos, nachos, and bowls. Fresh frozen drinks, ice cold beer, and desserts. Tiki taco, tiki taco.
My name is Bree McNally.
And we start the fourth quarter here at Rockhurst High as the Hawklets lead it by 17, 24-3. 2nd and 1. Stanback's going to keep it up the middle, past midfield, and all the way up to the Rockhurst 45 for a 1st down. And they'll call Stanback down at the 44 of Rockhurst. Give him an extra yard on that end of that carry. 1st and 10 now at the Rockhurst 44 for the Ray-Pac offense. Trying to get into the end zone for the first time tonight. Down by 17 here in the final quarter of action. And they're going to give it to Walker. Bouncing around a couple of defenders. Gets to the 40, to the 35, and is spun out of bounds at the 34. And that might be enough for the 1st down unless he's just short of that 1st down marker. They're going to give Walker 9. They're actually going to give him a gain of 11 on that carry. So it'll be a 1st down for Ray Peck, an 11-yard carry for DeZephan Walker. Originally they had given him 9. But then he ended up all the way up to the 34 of Rockhurst. So it'll be 1st and 10 here with 11 minutes to go. 2 receivers out to the far side, and long pass play, and does he come down with the, no, it's incomplete. Boy, that was awfully close. But Stanback trying to connect with, see who split out wide on the far side. It looked like Donovan Gudo on that far side for Ray Peck, unable to come down with the catch. It's hard to tell from my angle, but Gudo was split out wide on the far side on that previous play. And it's now 2nd and 10. Stanback keeping himself on the quarterback option play, and he'll get all the way up to the 31. So only a gain of 2 for Stanback. So if they give Stanback 2, it'll bring up 3rd and 8. At the Rockhurst 30-yard line. This is a big 3rd down here for Ray Peck. Like I said, if they want to try to control this game by any means, they've got to find a way to find the end zone quick and try to make a 2-possession game right away and try to make it a 1-possession game as soon as possible. 3rd and 7. Stanback back to pass. He's flushed. Finds a receiver, caught. And he's going to be marked down at the 27. It's not going to be enough for a first down, so Ray-Pec's now going to have to deal with a fourth down. And a manageable here if Ray-Pec decides to go for it. I bet they will. Got to find the end zone on this drive. Otherwise, it'd be a good opportunity for Rockhurst to control the clock the rest of the game. Big fourth down coming up for the Panthers, with just over 9.5 minutes to go in this game. And we're going to have a whistle before the snap, and I think Ray-Pec's going to use one of their timeouts here in the fourth quarter with 9:32 to go. 4th and 5 at the Rockhurst 28. Ray-Pec calls the timeout, their first timeout here in the second half, so we'll have a 30-second timeout. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. When we come back, it'll be 4th and 5 for Ray-Pec at the Rockhurst 28.
My name is Bree McNally. I am actually a server downtown at Grunauer. Our 15-year-old son was in an automobile accident and he was taken by ambulance to Children's Mercy Hospital. So when I called Eric, he just, was upfront about everything, let me know what the process would be. So Eric was easy to communicate with. I could Facebook Messenger him, call the office, text him, and he was always super responsive and handled everything in a timely manner.
And we welcome you back to our live coverage of Missouri High School football right here on a10varsity.com. Ray-Pec facing a 4th and 5 at the Rockhurst 28 with just over 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Down by 3 possessions. Standback sends a receiver in motion. Rolls out to his right on 4th down. And incomplete. And another turnover on downs for this Ray-Pec offense. And they had to get that one. And now Rockhurst with an opportunity to control the rest of this game, up by 3 possessions. Standback's pass falls short. What it looked like maybe Donovan Gudo was on that intended end of that throw from Standback. But the Ray-Pec offense just hasn't been able to find the end zone tonight. And it's a credit to this Rockhurst defense. And that front line for Rockhurst defensively, especially with Kevin Sullivan lining out on the right side. Definitely a force to be reckoned with, that Rockhurst D line, but they get a stop on 4th down with just under 9.5 minutes to go in this game. Play action. Scrambling out to his left. Heaves one up. And I think it's going to be incomplete. Hard to tell from my angle, but I think that pass went out of bounds, so it'll bring up 2nd and 10. So that incomplete pass stops the clock at 9 minutes and 18 seconds. And like I said, Rockhurst can really control the rest of this game by running down the clock. Ray-Pec with 2 timeouts to work with. I mean, I spent one of those timeouts a couple of minutes ago before that 4th down conversion, or that 4th down attempt, rather, I should say. And pitch play up the middle to Lewandowski, and the Ray-Pec defense knew what was going on that play, and they get the stop as Lewandowski is going to be pushed back all the way to their own 20. We'll see where they mark Lewandowski down. They're going to mark him down at the 23. So a loss of 5. Brings up 3rd and 15. And if you don't get this 3rd down, I don't know if Rockhurst is going to sweat it a whole lot because they're up by more than 2 possessions. But if they were to get a 3rd down conversion, it would absolutely put the game away here for the Hawklets at home. 2 receivers out on both sides. Miller. And there's a whistle blown right before Miller tried to get the throw off. So play blown dead as they're going to call false start on Rockhurst once again. Seen a lot of false start penalties from both of these offenses tonight. Just some week 1 woes kind of carrying over into week 2. The first couple of weeks, it's not always going to look pretty for both teams, trying to figure out what's going on up front on both sides of the ball. But it's just typical, first weeks of the season type stuff that all football teams have to deal with. 3rd and 20 now at their own 18 with just over 8 minutes to go. 2 receivers split out wide on both sides. And Lewandowski on the end of that catch. Past the 20, gets all the way up to the 25, past the 30, He picks up a first down past the 40 and trying to fight his way all the way up to the 45. They're going to mark him down at the 44. Well, Cash Lewandowski picking up a big first down on 3rd and long after that false start penalty. Moves the Hawkwits all the way up to their own 45. Had a great first down conversion by Cash Lewandowski. He's having himself a big night tonight for the Hawklets. 2 really good performances back-to-back to start the season. 1st and 10 at their own 45 now for Rockhurst. They were lining up in the shotgun formation with 3 receivers split out wide to the near side. A handoff play up the middle, past midfield, and finding his way all the way up to the 48 for only a gain of maybe 6. They'll bring up 2nd and 4 in a moment. But really, the point of focus here for this Rockhurst offense, they've been able to generate points here in the second half thanks to a defensive touchdown, and they were able to punch it into the end zone on their previous drive. However, if they could punch it in maybe one more time or at least maybe get another field goal to go through the uprights, it would certainly put this game away here for Rockhurst. 7 minutes to go in this game. Miller lining up in the shotgun formation. With the back line up to his right, he's going to give it back to the running back again, past the 40, all the way up to the 30-yard line, and he'll get tackled at the 26. And a good run right there as Rockhurst will pick up another first down with Lewandowski checking back into the game. You saw Ben Hayes right there on the end of that carry, getting a couple of carries before Lewandowski checking back into the game. And some really strong runs right there by Hayes, the sophomore running back, making his presence known here in the middle of the 4th quarter. Under 6.5 minutes to go in this game. 1st and 10. Lewandowski's going to pitch it back on the end around. Trying to get his way around a couple of defenders, gets past the 30 and all the way up to the 25, right around where the line of scrimmage is. Nothing going there for Tristan Johnson. They're going to give Johnson a loss of 1 on the end around, so it'll bring up 2nd and 11. Lewandowski checking out of the game after that previous play, with Ben Hayes back in the game, lining up to Miller's right. 2nd and 11 with just over 5.5 minutes to go. And they're going to give it back to Hayes, bouncing outside to the left, and gets all the way up to the 21. Only a gain of 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 6. And another solid run right there by the sophomore running back. And they will give Hayes a gain of 5. And it'll bring up 3rd and 6 here with 5 minutes to go in this game. And Rockhurst has held on to the ball for the past 3 to 4 minutes and have taken a huge chunk of this clock away from the Panthers as Miller takes the snap on 3rd and 6, pitches it outside to Lewandowski as he tries to fight his way towards the first down marker, and he'll get tackled at around the 18, maybe the 19-yard line. Only a gain of 2, maybe 3 yards. And they're going to give Lewandowski 3. It's going to be 4th and short. 4th and 3 at the Ray-Peck 18. And it looks like Rockhurst is going to keep their offense on the field. Well, you saw Connor Devereaux try to knock in that previous field goal attempt. He was just short. So they keep the offense out here on 4th and 3. Miller lobbing him one up to the near side. And incomplete, but another pass interference penalty for Ray-Peck. And these pass interference penalties have just been piling on for this Ray-Peck secondary. They've been making some pretty good plays in the secondary. However, Rockhurst has done an excellent job of drawing these pass interference penalties. And it's the 4th or 5th one that we've seen from this Ray-Peck secondary tonight. make it their 5th pass interference penalty. So now it'll be 1st and 10 at the 9, so it'll make it 1st and goal. Or rather, they're going to put the ball on the left hash at the 11-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10 at the Ray-Pec 11. The clock stops at 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Rockhurst with a chance here to punch it into the end zone one more time. Up by 3 possessions. A 17-point lead for the Hawklets. And they're going to give it right back to Hayes. Bouncing it outside to the left at the 5. And pushed out at the 4. And Hayes picks up maybe 5-6 yards. A decent carry there from the sophomore. And it'll bring up 2nd and goal now for Rockhurst. Unless they actually just have to get to the 1-yard line if they want to extend the drive any further. But for sure, Rockhurst is treating this if it is a 2nd and goal here with only being a couple of yards out from the goal line. 2nd and 3 at the 4. And Miller drops the snap. He's going to pitch it back to Lewandowski. Nowhere to go. Tackled in the backfield. He's going to get pushed back at the 10, maybe the 11-yard line, right where Rockhurst had the ball in previous 2 drives, but nothing going there for Lewandowski. Almost a botched play as Miller dropped the snap and pitched it back to Lewandowski in the middle, or just right at the nick of time, but a busted play now brings up 3rd and long. Actually, they're just going to put the ball back at the 9, so only a loss of a couple. So third down here for Rockhurst as they have trips out to the near side, one out to the far side. Miller takes the snap, lobs one up towards the near side, and incomplete, intended for Sullivan. And it'll bring up 4th down once again. And I think they're going to bring Connor Devereaux back out for his 3rd field goal attempt. It'll be another short field goal attempt for the sophomore place kicker. And he'll look to make it 27-3 with 3:02 to go in the 4th quarter. Out of the hold of Joe Pitzel. Here's the snap, the hold. The kick is up, and it is good. And Connor Devereaux now 2 for 3 today as he makes the score 27-3, a dominating lead here for Rockhurst with just under 3 minutes to go. And while this hasn't been the prettiest game for Rockhurst offensively, they've been able to separate themselves here from the Panthers here in the second half after a close first half, led by a touchdown up 10-3, and they got that defensive touchdown to make it 17-3 on that fumble. And then ever since then, Rockhurst has really taken this game by the reins and have run away with it. Even though they weren't able to punch it into the end zone, they did hang on to the ball for quite a while. They held on to the ball maybe for 5 to 6 minutes here in the 4th quarter, taking a lot of time off the clock. And Ray-Pec, they just don't have much time left in this game. 27-3. As Devereaux gets ready to kick this one away. Back to the Panthers, who will look to maybe punch it into the end zone, at least to give them something to build off of going into their next game. This one's a pooch kick. This one's going to be fielded by one of the up linemen for Ray-Pec. It will be fielded back at around the 30. We'll see where the ref places the ball after that fair catch. And they'll mark it down at the 30. So Ray-Pec will have 70 yards of turf to work with here with 3 minutes to go, 2:58 exactly. And it's just been a rough night for this Ray-Pec offense. And if you really take away the penalties, we could have been seeing some productive drives here from this Panther offense, but the penalties have just been added on. Really, it's been a problem for both teams here in tonight's contest, but Ray-Pec, the penalties have affected them the most. But we'll see if they can find a way to get into the end zone here late in the fourth. Stanback's going to hand it off to Walker again. And he'll probably get maybe a gain of 1. Nothing going right there for Walker. And this Rockhurst front line, very strong, and they've got great length. And they've been slowing down this run game for Ray-Pec. They've had some explosive runs at times from Walker and some of the other guys, but Rockhurst has been ready for this run attack from Ray-Pec tonight, and they've definitely shown it. And also keeping the Panthers out of the end zone. They've given up a field goal, but the Rockhurst defense continuing to prove that it's one of the most menacing defenses in the area here in Kansas City, as we'll have a whistle here before the snap. And we'll have a timeout on the field. It'll be called by Ray-Pec. They'll use their second timeout here with 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. Big lead here for Rockhurst as they lead it 27-3. We'll go ahead and step aside for a brief commercial break. You are watching Missouri High School football right here on A10varsity.com. We'll be right back.
Tiki Taco, Tiki Taco. Tacos, burritos, nachos and bowls. Fresh frozen drinks, ice cold beer and desserts. Tiki Taco, Tiki Taco.
And we're back on the air on A10varsity.com. 2nd and 9 at the Ray-Pec 31. They'll give it right back. And he'll get all the way up to the 44. And this time it's Donovan Gudo on that carry. They don't give it to Walker, but Gudo gets all the way up to the 44. Another powerful physical run by Gudo gives the Panthers a first down. And we have a personal foul penalty on Rockhurst at the end of that play. I think Gudo took a hard hit, and the officials, of course, didn't really like what they saw. So not only does Gudo pick up a first down, but they also get the personal foul penalty that adds on the yardage here for Ray-Pec here late in this game. Obviously, the game's out of their reach, but they obviously want to go into the locker room tonight to debrief about this game with something to feel good about. See if they can find a way to get into the end zone here at least. Two receivers split out wide to the far side. They'll give it right back to Gudo again. Past the 40, up to the 35. And they'll mark him down right there on the right hash of the 35-yard line. Well, we're with a little over a minute and a half to go in this game. Just to quickly recap what has gone on in this game here for both sides. You know, Ray-Pec showing some signs of life defensively with some really nice plays defensively, and they're able to get something going offensively at times, but the penalties have just been killing some of these drives here for Ray-Pec, which is why they've only put up 3 points. And on the other hand, for Rockhurst, you just got to give credit to that Rockhurst front line defensively. They've been very good throughout this game. And they've been creating some pressure up front, making it really tough for Stanback to maybe get some of those throws off and really closing up those holes in the run game for Walker and some of the other guys they've got incorporated into that run game for Ray-Pec. 1:17 to go. Two receivers split out wide to the near side this time. Play action from Stanback. Fires one over the middle and tipped, almost intercepted, thrown into double coverage. The pass is going to fall incomplete. And now we'll bring up 2nd and 10 with 1:10 to go here in the fourth. Well, just taking a look ahead for both of these teams. Rockhurst with a dominant showing here in their home opener tonight. They'll be taking on Olathe North next week over in Olathe, Kansas on the road. Should be a good game between those two. And Raymore-Peculiar, on the other hand, just a tough game for them tonight. But they'll be back at home next week against the Blue Springs Wildcats, who picked up a huge win on the road last week against the Leesom West Titans. And I had the pleasure of call in that game, and it was a really dominant showing from Blue Springs. However, Lee Summit West, they had their opportunities to keep it a close game, but the turnovers for them just continued to pile on, and Blue Springs took the game by the reins and ran away with it, kind of like what Rockhurst is doing in this one. We're under a minute to go. Now 3rd and 3 at the Rockhurst 22. Stand back, lining up in the gun, and there is a whistle before the snap. And either this is going to be a false start penalty or another timeout. Ray-Pec's got one more timeout to work with. And I think they're just kind of resetting the play. They might have put the ball in the wrong spot. So they're going to reset the clock to 38 seconds. Now the clock is winding down to 33. It'll be 1st and 10 at the Rockhurst 17. So we might get a couple more plays before the end of the game. 20 seconds to go. Stand back, play action, rolling out to his right, fires into the end zone, incomplete. As stand back tried to connect with Solomon on the far corner of the end zone. The incomplete pass will stop the clock with 13 seconds. Again, Ray-Pec will be taking on Blue Springs at home next week. And Rockhurst, on the other hand, will go on the road to take on Olathe North. And Rockhurst is going to start this season off 2-0 with an impressive victory here to open up their home schedule. And Ray-Pec with just back-to-back tough games against two really good teams in Lee Summit North and Rockhurst. Stand back. Rolling out to his near side. And intercepted at the 5. He's going to bring it out. He's at the 20 to the 30. Down the near sideline at midfield. He's going to cross midfield at the 40. He's at the 30, at the 20, at the 15, at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown, Rockhurst. An interception return for Carter Mullen. He picks off Standback and takes it back to the house. And that will end your ball game, folks, as Carter Mullen takes it to the house on the interception return. It's a game-ending pick 6. And I don't think we're going to have an extra point, so that's going to wrap it up. But how about that to end the game? A pick 6 from Carter Mullen ends our ball game here in Kansas City. Rockhurst with a dominating victory as they move on to 2-0. They win it over the Panthers of Ray-Pec. Your final score this evening, Rockhurst 33, Ray-Pec 3. Rockhurst taking on Olathe North next week. Raymore-Peculiar will be taking on Blue Springs at home for both 7 o'clock kickoffs. For both of those games next Friday on September 12th. Well, it's been a pretty good ball game. It was a really close ball game in the first half, and Rockhurst, they were able to take advantage of the mistakes that Ray-Pec had on both sides of the ball, and they were able to come away with a dominating home victory tonight. And to end the ball game, it's a pick 6 for Carter Mullen to make the score 33-3 to end the ball game. Well, that's going to wrap it up here in Kansas City. My name's Austin Eckert, and thank you all so much for tuning in to A10varsity.com. Hope you all enjoyed tonight's broadcast and tonight's game here between the Panthers and the Hawklets as Rockhurst gets the job done here at home with a big 33-3 victory. Again, Ray-Pec taking on Blue Springs at home next week. Rockhurst going on the road to take on Olathe North on September 12th. Thank you all so much for tuning in on A10varsity.com, or whether you tune in on YouTube. We certainly appreciate you all for tuning in to tonight's game. We'll see you all again for the next game, and hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much.